Titans fans, we are less than a month away from the 2024 NFL Draft, in which the Tennessee Titans have the number 7 overall pick. On today's show, we're going to talk about the perfect plan for the draft as Ran Carthon continues to hopefully have an amazing offseason. I'm your host, Jace Andrews. We appreciate y'all watching, and let's first talk about the draft picks the Titans have right now as we stand. They got round 1, pick 7, round 2, pick 38, round 4, pick 106, round 5, pick 146 via Minnesota. Their round 6 or round 7 pick, and they have a round 7 pick from Philadelphia in the Kevin Byard trade and the round 7 pick from Kansas City in the L'Jarius Sneed trade. Now, with these draft picks, they've got some needs still to fill, even though they've had a pretty successful offseason, and I feel like the people that they brought in filled in really critical needs. There are still needs that need to be met. The first one being offensive tackle. That's a known thing. It's been known for past 6 months at this point, and Joe Alt seems like the top pick. We'll talk about him and if he is the right option. Defensive edge is also something you got to look at. Jeffrey Simmons is great, but besides that on the defensive line, I don't really trust anybody else that much. I would like to get somebody in the draft. Wide receiver, although you have Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, I still would like to add some key depth pieces there. Safety, although I like our top 2 guys, I want more depth. There's a potential that maybe you bring in somebody that could maybe play a third safety role, give a little bit of a breather to both Elijah Bolden. And then linebacker, that's going to be a big one where you brought in Kenneth Murray, but I still feel like you need some more guys there. If you're ready to watch Ran Carthon cook, though, in the 2024 draft, because we all know Ran had a pretty solid draft last year, traded up to get Will Levis. Now he's going to be in his starting in his second year in the league. I think he's going to have a great draft again. If you're excited to see that, then I want you to hit that like button. It's a very easy way to let me know that you're excited just as much as I am. Let's start with the first step to this perfect draft plan, being grab Joe Alt at number 7. Listen, let's not make this too hard here, Ran. It's very obvious a tackle is a very much a need in your team, and Joe Alt is one of the best tackles that have ever come out of the NFL draft. He allowed just 1 sack this past year. His PFF rank was absolutely incredible of 90.7. 2 hits, 2 hurries, 2 penalties. This guy is already pro-level ready. And plus, it immediately solves that tackle problem. Obviously, the offensive line last year was not good. That was the main problem of the team. But luckily, you've made some strides in a couple of different assets. Obviously, you got Lloyd Cushenberry in free agency, the top center in the market. You pay him nicely and break a lot of contract records for centers. Peter Skoronski in his second year, I feel like his struggles this past year were more because the line in itself was just not good. But then you stick Joe Alt at left tackle. I trust Brunskill. Redunds is something that we'll have to kind of look at. But right now, I really do feel like this line could be definitely serviceable. But I think tackle has to be your first priority. Let's say Alt isn't there at 7. I still feel like you need to get a tackle. Now, in that case, maybe you trade back to go get one of these other guys, but tackle is something you need to get. If Joe Alt isn't there, there's 4 other guys that I think you still should look at. That's Olu Fashanu, Taliese Fuaga, Troy Futanu, and J.C. Latham. I feel as though you need to get one of these 5. To me, you get Alt or Fashanu, because if Alt's not there at 7, you have 2 options. You trade back a couple picks to where you're still going to have a shot at Fashanu, or you just take him at 7 and say that's pretty good. Do you like the pick of Joe Alt, though, at number 7? Obviously, that's the perfect plan, but sometimes things don't go to your plan. Would you like Alt, though? Number 7, type Y for yes if you would like to see him in a Titans uniform. I've seen the edits. He looks pretty nice. Or type in for no if you do not want him. You're talking Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, or you want a different tackle. Let me know in the comment section why for yes and for no. Let's go to the second step of this perfect draft plan, and that is to take an edge or a wide receiver on day 2. Because although we know that this offseason was filled with a pretty decent amount of moves, including getting Calvin Ridley at the wide receiver slot, I still feel as though that you need to get a wide receiver. Why is that? Well, because I trust DeAndre Hopkins. I trust Calvin Ridley. But I don't trust Traylon Burks. I don't trust Nick Westbrook-Akine. I don't know that I trust Kyle Phillips as much as I would like to. And so, given this is a very good wide receiver draft, in round 2, you could easily get pretty good wide receivers. I mean, Troy Franklin, Roman Wilson, Keon Coleman, and Ricky Pearsall could all be potential first-round draft picks if it weren't for the absolute maniacs we have at the top of the draft here with Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Romo Dunze, not to mention A.D. Mitchell and Brian Thomas Jr., who all will be first-round draft picks in my mind. Obviously, the edge is also something of a need because this defensive line is not great besides Jeffrey Simmons. I do feel as though with the retirement of Aaron Donald, Jeffrey Simmons is now the second best tackle in all of the National Football League, just behind Mr. Chris Jones. Keandre Coburn, though, at nose tackle, was literally a backup all last year, and now he's a starter. And Sebastian Joseph Day has starter-level experience, but I still feel as though edge is important. And so with that, obviously on day 2, do you take an edge, not a wide receiver? Well, there's a couple options. Chris Braswell is one that we've seen a very high read on from a lot of different prospects and a lot of different guys who ranking these guys in terms of their ability to be NFL ready. At Alabama, most of the time, you're already there. Adisa Isaac is also one that I could definitely see. And Jonah Ellis, I think, is one that's underrated. Could potentially get him later on in round 2. You would have to trade, though, obviously, given you only have one day 2 pick. And that's why I say wide receiver or edge, because it's very clear the number one issue is offensive line, getting that tackle position figured out. The second need, though, is kind of a toss-up. Like, obviously, I kind of lean more towards defensive line, but I still see how wide receiver is definitely an issue that wants to be solved. And with Brian Callahan as the new head coach of your Tennessee Titans, he wants playmakers, and he's already said that. So, with the day 2 pick the Titans do have in round 2, pick number 38, who would you like them to take at what position? Would you like them to take a wide receiver, then type a WR? Would you like them to take defensive line, then type DL? I honestly think it's wide receiver, and I know that I tend to think the defensive line needs more help, but because of how good this wide receiver draft class is, you're getting these round 2 guys who in past years would potentially be round 1 picks, especially given you have a decently high draft pick in round 2. Just go get somebody. You get that 3 spot. That way you can move everybody one step back. Your 1, 2, 3 is DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, and say a Troy Franklin, a Keon Coleman, a Roman Wilson. I feel like I could really, really trust those 3 guys. And then, if Nick Westbrook, Kyle Phillips, and Treylon Burks work out, that's great. That's great. If they don't, you're fine because you got 3 solid guys right there. The defensive line, you can figure it out as time goes. And Jeffrey Simmons, by himself, makes the defensive line already amazing. We saw how Danico Autry last year wasn't expected to be as good as he was, but with Simmons on the line, he made it to where the offensive line had to focus more on him, and Autry got back into the backfield. Hopefully we see the same thing with Sebastian Joseph Day. Before we move on in the show, got to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, and that is Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to get all of your ticketing needs for sports, music, comedy, and theater events in your area. Listen, you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event, and I know we've all had so many times where finding a ticket is the hardest thing and we don't want to worry about it. Well, Game Time takes the stress out of it. They got killer last-minute deals, views from your seat, as you can see right here, and pretty much everything in between. You're going to be able to get your seats in a easy manner, unlike other places. And obviously, it's super user-friendly. You get your tickets in 2 clicks. 2 clicks. Plus, got a little discount code for you. If you want to get $20 off your first purchase, you can use code CHATSPORTS. They've got flash deals, zone deals. Plus, if you're looking for last-minute tickets, I guarantee you, you're not going to find a better place to get them than Game Time because they have deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts, it's the place to find last-minute seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, the lowest price, guaranteed. Let's go to step number 3 here on our perfect draft plan, and it's to find a safety on day 3. And I know that this may be a surprise to some people, but I truly do feel like safety is somewhat of a need in some ways. But I don't think it's a need enough to get him in days 1 or 2 because this is not a great safety class. And I honestly think if you get someone at round 1, there's a potential for somebody in round 4 to play just as well as the guy you got in round 1 or round 2. Now, day 3 safety options, well, there's one that stands out to me, Kalen Bullock. That's the one that I would really, really like to see. But besides that, got a couple of Utah Utes in there, and Siono Vaki and Cole Bishop, and then Tyke Smith, one that's been highly ranked by a lot of NFL analysts in terms of day 3 safety guys and day 3 options in general. But I tend to lean towards Kalen Bullock, and the way he played this past year at USC was pretty darn good. 63 tackles, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions in just 12 games. Also, had a touchdown. I don't know about you. I like guys who makes plays, and Kalen Bullock is that guy. The thing, though, is Rand's going to have a decision to make, because Carthon, it's going to be one of you either take a wide receiver or you take an edge in day 2. And then how do you go about getting a safety in there? Do you say forget that to the 5th round where all four of those guys could be gone and your safety choices are basically nobody? Or are you going to take an edge? I mean, there's a couple of decisions that have to be made. Rand also has the choice. What about trading back up into the 3rd round, potentially, obviously not having that pick. So could definitely see what he could do, but a decision to be made for sure. Let's go to the 4th step here of our draft plan, and that is to get a late round linebacker. Now, I say late round because I think this linebacker room is pretty solid as it is, both depth-wise and the starters. Harold Landry had a phenomenal year last year. I truly do like what Arden Key brings to the table. Kenneth Murray played well with the Chargers in some facets, struggled in other ways. I'm curious to see how he'll play in Denard Wilson's scheme. Jack Gibbons, obviously getting back with the Titans. He's the one question mark. Obviously, I've seen him play. I know he has the talent, but I don't know if I'm trusting him as a day-in, day-out starter type thing. And so if you get one of these late linebacker options, there's a potential you could maybe have somebody on the depth to maybe take over that slot if you need to. Cedric Gray is a very, very good option out of the University of North Carolina. Michael Barrett out of Michigan. Obviously, you know the Michigan defense last year was the best in potentially college football history. J.D. Bertrand from Notre Dame, Steele Chambers, and Tyrone Hopper, all very, very good options as well. And again, these are guys that you can get some point in day 3. I'm thinking round 5 or 6. All 5 of these were available in a PFF mock draft in at least mid-round 4. 4 of them were available in round 5. So a lot of these guys you could be able to get pretty late. And honestly, I think they're all really, really solid. The last step, don't ignore depth. And I say that to almost take a step back to see how far the Titans have come. Because last year, there was so many needs that needed to be filled. You thought about wide receiver. Obviously, you got DeAndre Hopkins, but you didn't really trust the wide receiver. You thought about the offensive line. There's so many things that you just didn't have anything that you were planning on doing. Well, this is where the Titans have to go to the next level. This is where Ran Carthon has to go to the next level because they've done well in free agency. I feel like a lot of their needs have been met in a lot of facets. And so this is where you can kind of draft towards your depth in the back half. That's why I say linebacker, because I trust Jack Gibbons, and safety. I trust Elijah Molden. But I still want some depth in that position so that we're not putting so much pressure on the starters to perform. And if they don't, you're out to dry. That's where it takes another level for Ran Carthon and for the Tennessee Titans as an organization. Luckily, Brian Callahan has had multiple experiences with that in Cincinnati. Denard Wilson playing or coaching for Philadelphia and Baltimore. He has a lot of experience with that. I truly do feel like this coaching staff and this front office are set really well for the future. It's just about how they can grow quicker and quicker. Is there a position, though, that the Titans still need, though? Maybe they need somebody, they need help somewhere, and I missed it? Well, I need to let me know in the comment section down below, because obviously, got a lot of draft picks here, 3 7th-rounders. There's still places they could go. Is there a position that you still feel as though you're not comfortable with? Well, let me know down in the comment section. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We are oh so close to 9,000 subscribers. So if you're not a part of those 9,000, or what will be 9,000, hopefully a couple days, well, then join it and become one of those, because you can be an amazing member of our Titans Today community. We're putting out Titans videos at least 4 times a week, sometimes 5, 6, 7, trying to get it to every single day. And so why don't you join a part of the movement here, youtube.com/Titans Today. We really do appreciate y'all. Titans fans, tighten up and peace out.